Thank you very much. We're back here, of course, in Studio 52. Once again, it's a pleasure, of course, to host you on the program.
Thank you very much.
What was your impression of this week's visit by four African leaders?
The president has done this a couple of times. He has invited leaders. The first few years, he has invited a group of them. I think he wants to communicate a message that he is still engaged with Africa, but it's a bit limited engagement. So it was good to see the leaders, them talking about democracy, and I actually also hosted the president of Senegal for a function, which was very good. But I think it's a bit limited in terms of engaging Africa.
What would you like to see happen?
So it's good to reward or at least to acknowledge that some readers are making progress. And these are not the only readers making progress in Africa. And it's good to show that there's something going on. But these visits don't accomplish much. There are more photo sessions. I would like to see the president more engaged in terms of programmatic engagement. What exactly is it that U.S. is going to engage with Africa? And there are many areas and countries that he needs to really engage with that are very important if you are going to make a sensible or a meaningful relationship between Africa and the United States.
For example?
Well, I mean, you can get a number of these small countries and engage them, but that's quite limited. There are countries, let's say, like Nigeria, which have a lot of problems themselves, but they are very important countries that need to be engaged.
But he has already met with Jonathan?
Yeah, he has met with them, and of course there's South Africa and the American countries.
He has met with Jacob Zuma?
Yeah, but those meetings by themselves do not accomplish much. What I would like to see is like what China has been doing, like annual forum with African leaders. I would like to see, for example, using the African Union as a platform to make general and broad statements. So I would like to see a broader engagement that involves not just selective readers, but really engaging Africa through the existing bodies like the African Union. That's more meaningful.
You wrote recently a very interesting piece called The Significance of Obama's Meeting with African Leaders at the White House.
Yes, I did.
You point out a lot of leaders that he has met, and the majority seem to come from West Africa and Southern Africa. Is this a coincidence?
Well, so there are some criteria that I think they use to look at what's happening. One, I think, is not necessarily how democratic a country is, but the change. For example, you think about Sierra Leone. Sierra Leone does not measure up in terms of democracy to many other African countries.
Why?
It is improving, but in terms of indicators of democracy, it's still quite low.
It has held democratic elections.
It has held democratic elections, and it has moved from, the main reason why it's significant is coming from a very serious conflict. That's why I'm saying that the change is quite important.
It has held to presidential term limits, for example. It has not really bothered, nor has it had a leader that has tried to employ the shifting of constitutional, political goalposts?
Yeah, so the progression is good. In terms of the overall indicators, it's really not as good as many other countries. If you think about Malawi, Malawi has been doing very well until a few years later, President Mutharika started going back.
Correct.
Then you get a new president who is trying to revert, to come back. So there is a change. There's still, the indicators are not that good, but the movement is positive. And I think the president wanted to reward those type of leaders. Of course, Cape Verde is a very good example of a truly positive story.
You also mentioned in your piece that at times he meets or rewards those leaders or countries that help the United States and the West in terms of their vital national security interests, correct?
Wow, okay, so a good example for my maybe to illustrate is Ethiopia.
But Ethiopia, you have not
here, but Ethiopia was here before.
Yes.
Ethiopia was included in many meetings in the past. But if you talk to people in Ethiopia and ask them about the issues of democracy and so on, they'll tell you there are a lot of questions. There are a lot of questions there.
There's no democracy there.
Well, so that's the thing. But he was considered a good friend of the United States.
What about Uganda?
Uganda.
What about Rwanda?
Okay, let's take Uganda. Uganda started very well. I would say that I'm, of course, coming from very low and moving on. I think things have changed in Uganda. I don't think that you get the same vitality of democratic reforms. I would say that the change in terms of the terms and the president sort of staying on and on is a problem. And I don't think that he is afraid of the United States, and I think the United States still considers him as afraid. But I don't think that that's the trajectory that the United States would like to portray as a case study of good governance.
What about the fact that Uganda is helping the United States and the West to fight Al-Shabaab in Mogadishu?
Yeah, okay, so there are several countries that are, that's where I was talking about national security. I think Uganda has been very important. In many respects, Kenya is also important to the United States. It's one of the reasons that this continued engagement, because it has been a very important partner.
Burundi?
Burundi, I'm not quite sure how much Burundi has been involved in terms of, there's been progression, of course, in democracy.
But in terms of,
it sent forces to Somalia. So it's been a partner also. So those are countries that are also are good friends for the United States. But of course, he has to select a number of them. But again, as I said, broadly, in terms of long-term engagement, you need to think of a better strategy.
What about the fact that Mwangi, all the three leaders that came here, the four leaders rather, the three presidents and one prime minister, their countries have a relationship with the Millennium Challenge account.
Okay. Yes. So that's, and I noted that actually, the Millennium Challenge account, you receive it by achieving some level indicators. You achieve some scores of governance. So in that sense, they already have a good relationship with the United States, and they are getting support from the United States. So that which is good. Others have, but they do have. They are receiving resources from the United States.
We'll come to
Of course, Malawi was suspended, but now it's getting.
Now it is back.
Yeah.